Hello again, everybody. I guess today is a two-parter. What are we doing today? Well, today we are really trying to get this thing up and running to see if it works. And so far, I think we're doing okay. My video quality is going to be like a 2 on 10 for the foreseeable moment. I do have a webcam. I'm too scared to plug it in. Anyway, we'll figure that out. It's going to take 5 minutes, but for today, for ease of comfort, I'm doing this. So because I deal with things so reasonably, as I said in the last episode, because I'm a reasonable man, I should be PC, I guess, and say I'm a reasonable person who identifies as a man. Because I'm a reasonable person, I, of course, made one 12-minute podcast and then immediately made, like, a website. Which is great. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing it. I've never done that before. I've never even attempted it. So if you're interested, diatribesandsquirrels.com. 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 It was fun. I mean, I spent a little bit of money and got the website going and edited a few things. I'm going to probably need some help in the future with that because it's not quite to my flavor, but it works. So, hey, you can check it out. And of course, because I'm being completely reasonable and I have every idea of what I'm doing, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. It's all being powered by this shit. So, because I have every idea what I'm doing, I'm already having delusions of grandeur. So the website's been made. And I'm already thinking, Facebook page. Merch, even though I can't draw and I have no idea what a design would be. Because I'm just coming up with this crap off the top of my head. So, who knows what the future holds? Probably a lot of tears, if we're being honest, probably a lot of crying and a lot of questionable decisions and a lot of, just one broken heart. Just mine. It usually works out that way. That's okay. So, you'll find the YouTube channel, which I've also created because I'm a completely normal person. And I called myself Squirrel Man. And you may wonder why Squirrel Man, and my rebuttal is, how dare you? Why not, right? So, we'll figure that out later. Squirrel Man it's a weird name. Don't worry about it. We know that I'm not well. I mean, I'm sitting in a house coat with a T-shirt that says Lake Titicaca on it, pretending that I have some idea while I hold like a little can of sugar-free Red Bull and talking. Like I said, no edits, no reshoots, no apologies, right? So it's this is just flying off the handle. We're really hoping it's going to go off the rails, in the few episodes, and that you guys will all be spared any future ranting. But for now, let's keep the train going. So one of the things that I do on these really quiet Saturdays when I don't have other responsibilities and I have to, adult, sometimes I find myself just scrolling on the TikToks. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little too old to be scrolling on the TikToks. It's, that's a young people's game, There's a lot of ideas on there that I find silly, frightening, and mildly nauseating. But there are some funny ones. I don't think I'm the kind of guy who could make a TikTok. First of all, I would never know. Like, I'm using this software to do this, and I would never know how to record a TikTok or, like, put in a song or, duet somebody. It would just, and let's be honest, 3 people are going to watch this podcast. I would put something up on TikTok and literally, like, I'd get banned automatically. And it's not really because of what I'm saying or doing. It would most likely just be like the thumbnail of my face on my user profile would be banned for just general unpleasantness. Just no one needs to see this. Go and, figure out your RSP, old man. Go and, change the oil on your car or something. I don't know. So, for now, unless somebody can really help me out, we're not going to be doing the TikToks. We're going to watch the TikToks and we're going to send them to friends because some of them really are quite funny. It's really cool and a little bit inspirational. I've been watching, I'm not doing a podcast because I generally, figured podcasts look like fun because I watched other podcasts. And, yes, I've seen a few episodes of Joe Rogan, some of the ones with the more interesting, like some of the more science-based ones have been really interesting, where he invites, astrophysicists or other kinds of scientists. And the ones with his fellow comedians I find really funny. I kind of probably got into it a little bit earlier when I was a little bit more into UFC, which I please don't at me with like UFC things because I don't follow at all anymore. I have no idea what's going on. So I apologize. Great sport, but completely clueless now. So I watched that, but then, I got into other podcasts, just clips of podcasts. One of the ones that I really started out with was, things like The Nerdist. And I started out with, I started watching things like Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and his wife, and Two Bears, One Cave with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. Listen to clips of Bill Burr. It's just that kind of stuff that kind of said to me, this could be fun. Now, granted, those are all, let's be perfectly honest, those are all professional comedians that are legitimately hilarious. Like, they have a gift of funny. I am none of those things. I am just a short, bizarre, bald man who's bored on a Saturday right now. And so he's subjecting you to this. And if you're still watching, I guess you're enjoying it. But, that's a little bit the backstory of why is George doing a podcast? Well, why the hell not, right? And I think I said that the last episode. So here's a question, to get some user involvement. There's a jackpot in a lottery right now. The jackpot is $70 million. That's 70 million. What would you do? Now, granted that 70 million, even 20 years ago, was this almost unheard of sum. Now it's, there are people walking around in the world where that's literally walking around money, 70 million. It's like, doesn't matter. It's an inconsequential gain or loss, which is terrifying and depressing because like $70 is a material gain or loss to me. So what would you do if you won the jackpot? And let's not say, I don't really think I'm going to have an audience that's going to say, "Oh, I'd give it all to charity, or I'd help the more less fortunate, I'd help the needy." If you're watching a man sitting in a house coat in a lazy boy on a Saturday night in his empty house in the suburbs, you're not that kind of person. I'll tell you what I'd do. There's a couple of cars on the list that I would get. But the cars need it. Like, I don't have enough garage for the cars I would want. So yes, I would blow an not obscene, but fairly lewd amount of money, a fairly indiscreet and perhaps third base amount of money on cars. First, though, I would need a house. Now, my house, as you can tell, it's very average. And it is. And you know what, guys? Honest, hand to God, lucky to have it. Lucky to have my life. Lucky to have my job. Lucky to have the car I do drive. Lucky to have a lot of things. Good family, excellent family, good health. These are all amazing things. But if I'm going to be completely selfish for 5 minutes, let's be honest, I'm way selfish, way more than that in the day. Takes a lot of personal ego checking in the day to kind of keep me in line with the rest of the universe. But if I did have that money, I would build a large house, but not a complicated one. I'm very down with this whole minimalist look that's really popular right now. You know, I'm definitely not the kind of guy, if I had 70 million, that there would be like gold-plated toilets and like ornate columns and fluted this and that around the house. I wouldn't be building anything that looked remotely Roman. It would just not my style. I mean, I may be descended from a lot of Roman stock. I'm probably a mixed mutt of all sorts of European tribes, but I'd build a house that looked fairly modern and minimalist. And in that house, there would be a couple of features. One from the 1970s that I love is the recessed sitting area, kind of the couch that's a couple of steps down into the floor in the living room, and it's kind of like you could almost from the floor is the top of the back of the couch kind of thing, the rest of the floor. So that would be the kind of look for my living area. And one of the things it would feature would obviously, with fairly thick glass, would be a glass view into the garage. Now, that seems stupid, and generally, probably from an architectural, engineering, and energy efficiency and general aesthetics point of view, it is completely moronic. But let's remember who we're talking about, whose fantasy we're talking about here, mine. There's not going to be a lot of intelligence or common sense. I'm reasonable in the face of the law. I'm not reasonable once I have $70 million, so shut up. So there would be a glassed-in garage so I could see my cars. Now, in the garage, at the moment, these change every few years, right, as new cars come out. What I find really depressing right now is we're losing some great engines right now as we transfer over to electric. Let's not get we'll deal with that another time. But there would be at the moment an Audi RS6 Avant, because 600 horsepower wagons are cool. A 911 turbo stick shift, and if I had to have a third car, this one is always the most interchangeable. But I would probably have some sort of truck. Now, if anybody suggested G-Wagon, unsubscribe. That's not happening. Would be a larger truck, maybe a Lexus of some kind. You know, something with bulletproof reliability, I think, would be in order. My heart automatically says like an Audi RS Q8, but at the same time, it's the same engine as the RS6, and it's just bigger and taller. So that's where I would start. I think that would be, so the house would probably be 5 or 6 million. I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm talking about. The cars there, I can kind of confidently say that's another 600-700K. So I've blown through, 10% of my fortune before I've even started? Really, after that, I'm not sure really what I would do with the cash. I'd probably walk around just lording it over everybody. Let's be perfectly clear. I would completely walk around lording it over everybody, because that's really what the fun of being rich is, right? Isn't that, like, from what I've seen and what, the world, the internet, media tells me, is that's exactly what I should do. Should start voting right wing and lording my money over everybody else and telling everybody else to work harder, even though I didn't do a damn thing to get the money I got. So there you have it. So what would you do with $70 million? How would you act like a complete jackass with $70 million? Maybe leave a comment. I imagine a lot of the comments on these videos are going to be general verbal and emotional abuse. Try to keep it to a minimum. I'm a human being, but you gotta do whatever floats your boat, right? So it's Saturday night, people. It is 7:30 on the nose. Who's going out? What are you doing? I think we see what I'm doing. I think we see a dark bathtub in a dark bathroom with all the lights off, empty, and me sitting in it with the house coat going, I wish I had friends. I think we see that in the next 47 minutes. If not, what are you doing? You going out? You hanging out with the homies? You gonna go out and look for the ladies? I'd look for ladies, but they generally, they generally turn green when they see me. But I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. I hope you have fun. Be safe. And we'll catch you on the next episode.